of Strategic Products and Affordable Lending for Mountain West Financial. I could go on and on about her accomplishments and her the organization she's involved with, but I'm going to kind of let her do a lot more of the talking than me. So welcome, Nancy Obando. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
What exactly does your title mean, and how does it help the loan officers at Mountain West do what they do? And if you could just kind of give a general description. I know there's a lot to describe, but give a general description of your day-to-day, if you don't mind.
My day-to-day is to make sure that my team and I address America's housing needs. There's a lot of talks right now with minority lending and a focus with affordable housing. So that is definitely something that my team focuses on.
Okay, so you're just like equality in the mortgage space, and making sure that there's affordable first-time home buyer options, stuff like that.
Yes, we do have an emphasis on first-time homebuyers, low to moderate income families. I mean, just any opportunity that we could create to either get you in a real estate office, or just make home ownership a reality. For Americans, I think that is what we strive for. So we're actively looking for new programs out there, making sure that our loan officers at Mountain West Financial do have a competitive advantage.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I certainly believe that's what you provide just by just through the organizations that you're involved with, and that leads into my next question. So how did you start getting involved in all of the organizations that you were involved with? And maybe talk about, because there are quite a few, maybe talk about the one that you're most excited about right now leading, and kind of what you have going on within that organization.
Well, I can't say the most excited. Those are fighting words. I don't want to pin the organizations that I work with against each other, but I'm excited for all. But at a young age, I became involved within the community, and this actually started off even when my parents would always vacation over the summer to Nicaragua. And that is my background. I am Nicaraguan American, Nicaragüense. And that's where I first became very aware of social injustices and disparity and within the community. So we started an organization there that focuses on feeding and clothing children, and also elderly that have been abandoned. So we still do that till this day. And as a minority in the United States, I've seen the inequities that take place in BIPOC communities, and joining organizations that have the politician's ear, that empower people, that create a unifying, powerful voice to help create that change excites me. So,
yeah.
I mean, look what the current administration is doing now. And it's not coming up with just the current administration all of a sudden made this happen. No, this is work that we've been doing throughout these organizations to make sure that legislation knows what's going on in the industry. How we combat housing affordability crisis and address centuries of just discriminatory housing policies. So I can't just say that I'm excited for one. I'm excited for all the organizations that help do this.
You didn't fall for the bait. That's okay. That's all right. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I love how you say on your LinkedIn, I read that you've aligned your purpose with your professional, with what you do professionally. I think that's extremely powerful, and it definitely shows in what you do. One of the organizations that you're involved with right now is correct me if I'm pronouncing wrong, but it's not NARP, correct? Is that right?
NARP. Yes, that is correct.
I don't want to offend any members of that. So what are you currently in NARP? Well, first off, could you explain what NARP is, and then kind of your role right now?
Yes, so NARP is the National Association of Housing and Real Estate Professionals of America, and I am currently the vice president and incoming president for 2022.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, so I'm super excited for that to lead that organization, but it really does focus on empowering and providing a voice for sustainable homeownership in the Hispanic community.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
and before we started recording, we were talking about how the Hispanic community is going to be a huge, really huge part of the home buying process moving forward in the next 20 years. So um, that's really amazing. And I'll just drop in there. You did talk to Congress yesterday, which I didn't know about until before we started this interview. So I'll just leave that there. I was very the so, but how do you think that because originating um, there's a benefit of being involved in organizations as an originator, obviously, and you kind of show the impact that you can have, you know, in Congress or in government by just being involved in groups and getting opportunities that way. How do you think, as an originator, getting involved in something that you're passionate about can actually help your business?
I mean, it could help in so many ways. I mean, we've all seen the data and the numbers, and if you haven't, please reach out to me if you want to see the buying power that minorities have in America. You know, you mentioned something about Hispanic homeownership trends. Hispanics are the only demographic with 6 consecutive years of homeownership growth, despite debilitating losses, you know, during COVID-19 pandemic. So as an originator, knowing that you want to learn about, okay, which market I'd like to target and be a little bit more strategic about knowing the data analytics behind who your market is definitely going to help you in your business. I mean, diversity in America isn't going to shrink. You know, the fabric of America is becoming more colorful, and that's why, you know, the housing community, you know, has to be ready to serve this dynamic market more than ever in order to prosper over time. So I highly encourage, you know, diversity, inclusion, being involved, rethink how lending is being done, and become culturally attuned originators.
Oh, I like that. Culturally attuned originators. That's a really big takeaway from that. And I think that originators can also follow your example by, taking their purpose and aligning it with what they do professionally and see how actually they can reap the benefits from that. And not doing it for that reason necessarily, but it's a dual thing. We don't originators are not volunteers, right? So we don't do it they don't do it for free. But getting involved in these organizations, while there's not an immediate payoff, it's something that could be fulfilling for you as a person, just an individual, and actually benefit your business. So it's kind of a win-win. And I think that's what you represent so well. Now, with this last question, you don't have to answer it. It's coming through a little curveball a bit. So I was reading, there's several articles out about imposter syndrome, right? And they cite it happens I've experienced it among young professionals, but primarily among women in higher up positions. Now, you are obviously you're senior vice president at Mountain West Financial. You are on the board of all the like too many organizations to name, and you're the incoming president in 2022 for NARP. So, have you experienced that, and how were you able to overcome it, or was it just something you kind of grew out of?
Oh, absolutely. I've experienced it. And I think most of us do. And I'll be very transparent. I started from the bottom and now I'm here, right? I'm
Now you're
taking
here.
that from Drake.
Absolutely. That's
So
always welcome.
I want to make sure that besides just talking about the imposter syndrome, is I want to make sure that individuals that look like me know that it is possible, even if you started from the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, throughout my life, I was always curious, right? I was always curious about, okay, what's my next step? I was always hungry to learn. And that's another reason why I joined these organizations, is because they are, you know, my information curators, right?
Yeah.
For me to know and be prepared and be the best that I am in this position. But, moving up the corporate ladder, I often did question, like, well, maybe I got lucky, or maybe, I'm not ready for this, or maybe, or whatever. And especially women, the data shows that women won't apply to a job unless they meet 100% of the qualifications, whereas men apply if they maybe meet 60% of the qualifications. So I currently, I think first, and the way that I was able to overcome imposter syndrome is self-awareness. Know
Mm-hmm.
thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Know yourself. Know your worth. Know what your purpose is.
Another,
And
another journey.
I guarantee you that if you align yourself with your purpose, it's
Yeah.
like you're on it. I mean, the creative juices, just comes out because of that. And I'm all about paying it forward. I did surround myself with a group of strong women that helped me on my way up. And I make sure that I amplify and empower other women, on their way up too. So I do it with my team. I with my girls right now that I work with in strategic products, I make sure that I'm informing them and they are in the know, that about everything that I'm doing. And I
Right.
highly promote that, we're not perfect at everything. None of us are. Men, women, I don't care how old you are. We all have weaknesses and we all have strengths. However,
Mm-hmm.
if you align yourself with people that will help you with your weaknesses, and you acknowledge that, but don't judge yourself too strongly on it, it's
Yeah.
okay. Align yourself with that person that will help build it, like complement your balance, your weakness. So I think I went on a tangent, but
No, it's so good. It reminds, like, it's a sense of the sense of vulnerability and leadership is actually the best way to lead, right? Yeah, because everybody knows that nobody's perfect, but there's people that I think leaders can get into a trap of trying to pretend that they're perfect, right? They don't, and they haven't gone through stuff, and that can cause a lack of relatability to the people you work with. And I like how you have more of a collaborative approach, because you like, we all need the people that we work with to kind of help us in our blind spots, because we all have them. And
Yes.
I just think that, honestly, it's truly amazing. Nancy, you've been someone that I'm inspired by the entire time. Mountain West, we're extremely lucky to have someone like you, uh, doing what you do for strategic products, affordable lending, and kind of just general outreach. The amount of people that know you that I talk to, even loan officers, it's almost comical at this point. So you honestly are making a mark, and I just thank you for your time and everything you're doing, for Mountain West, and for everybody that you represent.
Thank you.